Good evening again, everyone. Michael here, and welcome back to the channel. Part 7 of our 172 rebuild. And this evening, we'll go ahead and be installing the seatbelt assemblies to our new seat base that we put together yesterday. And we'll go ahead and assemble the pedestal assembly. And after that, we'll take a couple minutes and discuss the intercom and my plans on how I'm going to work that into the simulator. So all of that being said, if you have seen or if you've been part of one of my safety briefings or have seen the clipped safety brief on the Twitch channel, our seat belts are exactly very, very similar to that of your automobile. So let me go ahead and grab those real quick. These are standard belt and buckle latch assemblies. Okay, snapping together just like that. And to release the buckle, you push the big red button right in the middle of the latch assembly. Got two sides, left and the right. Obviously, our buckles are going to be they're going to go in the middle of the seat frame. And then these are actually our latches. Then our buckles are going to come in from the outside of the seat. Give me just a second, I'll be right back with you. Hello.
Hello.
How's work?
Good. Have fun.
Alright. Be safe.
Thanks, you too. Mind the drills.
Yes. So, it's not going to take us very long at all to throw these seat belts in. And then I went ahead and off camera, I went ahead and cut out the required cutouts we need to mount everything into our pedestal, and we'll go further into detail in that here momentarily. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and switch the camera over to the cockpit, and we'll just take a couple minutes and at least get these seat belts bolted up and get that part taken care of. We know from yesterday that our seat base is 3 feet wide, so our buckles are going to go right into the middle of, might be easier if I bring it down like this. Alright, that ought to work. So, we know our seat base is 3 feet wide from when we built it yesterday. So we're going to attach our buckle assemblies right in the middle. And those are going to come up and reach the seats there. To attach the seat belt assemblies to our base, I'm just going to use some lag bolts, 1/2-inch lag bolts. The rear buckles, I'll go ahead and tighten this lag bolt all the way to the frame. I should say the latch. The buckle assembly, I'm going to snug up relatively tight, but not so tight to where it's not going to be able to pivot on our bolt, which is something that we're going to want for comfort when we put our seatbelt on. So let's go ahead and drill our pilot hole and get some seat belts bolted to our seat base. I do want to thank everyone for coming in and hanging out a bit this evening. Not going to be as long of a stream this evening as we were yesterday, but the goal is to get the seat belts installed get the pedestal assembled, and get it fit up into place and see how it looks. And then we'll go ahead and discuss the intercom assembly and how I plan on... Totally 78, welcome in, my friend. Hope you've had a good day since yesterday. So we'll discuss the intercom and how I'm going to turn our... I'll just have to show you. But let's take a couple minutes and get these seat belts in real quick. Okay. Grab the drill. What did I do with it? Drill. There it is. Let's just kind of do a quick measurement here. Yep, that'll reach just fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach both buckles using one bolt. In order to do that, we're going to come down here. Yeah, I could. Maybe I'll do that. I think what I'll do is I'll actually utilize, I'll drill into the wood through the metal bracket, and that'll give me something a bit more sturdy to bolt the buckles to. Plus, it'll help add some security to, you know, how the seat frame bolts to the seat base. So let's go ahead. We have this middle hole right here. That looks good. I'm going to make my pilot hole closer towards the bottom because the hole itself is sort of elongated. It's not perfectly round. Alright, there's my pilot hole. And we're just going to screw this in by hand. And once I find my screw. There it is. One going up there. We're going to have one going up there. Like so. Okay, I lied. I'm not going there to the middle because my mounting brackets are a bit too wide to fit between the seat tracks. So I'm going to bring my straps down to the actual wood here. Let's see. Oh, I could do it. Yeah, they'll fit. It's going to be tight. They'll fit. Okay. Yeah, let's just go that route. Okay. I just got that started by hand because remember I have that pilot hole. Okay, takes care of that. That takes care of that. Okay. We will move over now and we'll do the pilot belt. We'll get this door open. We'll come over here. Something like that. Hopefully that camera stays there. And then, let's see. We have plenty of belt length. So we could go all the way back here. Even if we scoot our seat forward. Scoot it all the way forward. Make sure we still have plenty of belt. Yeah, that'll work. That will work. If we need any more seat belt than that, then I'm sorry, we're gonna be exceeding max gross on takeoff if we're full fuel. So, and I'm just gonna go right there. Just a pilot hole. M. Stein, thanks for coming in for a couple minutes. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Everything should go well. I'll talk to you later, buddy. Have a great evening. Okay, where is buckle number 1? There it is. For now, I'm just going to buckle this to the latch. I'm going to pull it tight. Make sure that we're going to stay straight and that we're not twisting up. Okay. And I'm not going to go all the way tight to allow the buckle itself to pivot. That's just my personal preference. You'll notice that on your automobile it does the same thing. Just kind of like that. Okay. Onto the other side. You grab my nut, I got my screw. What did I do with the other one? Somewhere I have another lag screw. Oh, there it is. There. Grab the other buckle. These buckle assemblies, they came off of Amazon. Relatively inexpensive. I think I paid $20 for the pair. Maybe one day I'll get froggy and get a full harness set for this thing. But for now, this serves the purpose simply as a flow, something on your checklist, a safety item. Okay, same deal. I'm not going to tighten it all the way up. I'm going to tighten it up enough to where it pivots freely. But also enough to where it'll, still keep you secure. Just like so. Okay. Seat belts are in. That was pretty quick and painless. Onto the pedestal. Yesterday I was discussing a little bit about my trim wheel and how I'm hoping to be able to mount it behind the pedestal fascia to give it a bit more authentic look. And I am actually able to do that. So originally, this is my trim wheel assembly with this nice pretty faceplate on it. Taking those 6 front screws off, revealed another sort of internal faceplate. I mean, this is a 3D printed product, but it is very, for 3D printed, the quality is really good. It is a motorized trim wheel, so that way when autopilot's flying the plane, it takes control and the trim wheel actually moves. Well, it gets driven by this gear here, which typically is hidden inside of the housing. You can see the relief for that gear. So, when it's like this, you don't see that gear, you just kind of see the relief. So, I got to thinking, how am I going to mount this flush inside my pedestal? Have the trim wheel and indicator protrude. Yeah, but then I kind of have this unsightly gear here. So I figured out a way to combat that. So let me go and grab the pedestal. It is mocked up, assembled, just so I could get it painted before we started this evening. So let me go grab that, and let me just go grab it. And then we'll go over a little bit of the construction and show you how all that is going to come together. This is the pedestal that I fabricated. It is not entirely, if we look at the profile of this pedestal, and if you were to look at the profile of the 172 pedestal, where your fuel selector is, it kind of ramps down as far as the actual pedestal, but the fuel selector itself is actually flat. So I didn't really, worry too much about making where my fuel selector goes. I didn't worry about that angle too much. What I was more concerned about is, the taper coming down from the instrument panel down to the floor. So we've got 4 inches up here, from here, and it just tapers down to 5.5 inches here. Then we've got 5 inches coming forward for our fuel selector, and we have an 11-inch total depth along the bottom. So, we have 5, 6 here, and then it tapers down to 4 towards the top. It is constructed of 1/4 inch MDF. It is exactly 6 inches wide. So it is secured using 2x2s in some various locations here, up 5.5 inches length. That way, when I put my 1/4 inch MDF, that's giving me a combined width of 6 inches. I was able to narrow the fuel selector panel as well, which is kind of what we were needing to do. So I trimmed off the sides of the desktop aviator fuel selector panel. So this now fits our pedestal profile. The only issue is because I did have to trim it, I lost a little bit of my indicator here, but that's alright because we have, you know, this FAA approved placard set that's just going to take place of this anyway. So we'll get that installed, but first thing I need to do is unscrew this front faceplate from the pedestal so that we can mount everything into it. And we'll start with the trim wheel. Remember that relief I was talking about for the the motorized assembly? That this gear here. It's not going to cover the whole thing, but it helped out. I took a sanding disc. Okay, remember I'm only dealing with a 1/4 inch here, but I took a sanding disc and just kind of created a bit of a relief into this initial 1/4 inch piece of MDF. And then if we were to, let me go ahead and I'll explain real quick. With the faceplate, that's how I marked my pattern here. I screwed the faceplate on, drilled a hole here, drilled a hole here, drilled a hole here, drilled a hole here with bits that were the same diameter of each of these slots. And then I removed the faceplate, drew a line connecting the outside of each hole, and that's what gives me my nice slot for the various components. But if we were to just stick this in here now, that gear is going to hit our MDF, even with that bit of a relief. So what I did, and it'll work. I mean, there may be a better way, but this is how I'm gonna do it. I just made some shims out of that same 1/4 inch MDF, and what that's gonna effectively do, and once I place these shims on here, is that's going to space out that trim wheel away from the front of the pedestal, and that's going to give that gear that relief that it needs. I'm not going to glue these on or anything. I'm just going to sit them there, and then just from the pressure, we'll take our initial mounting screws and we'll run them into. Okay, let me get all the screws mounted first, and then I'll put my shims in. But we're just going to run them through the pedestal fascia and back into the trim wheel assembly. So then theoretically, I don't even want to say theoretically, what's going to happen is the trim wheel is going to protrude through just like that. And then we'll go one step further, and we'll take some of those FAA approved placards, place it on the front of here, nose up, nose down, and yeah, it should be good to go. The big question is, did I get all my holes lined up properly? That would be the big question. As long as I can get all 6 of these screws started in the front here, we're golden. There's 4. Well, I think I'm gonna have to adjust some holes. They're starting, but they are starting kind of offset. So I need to either drill them out just a little bit more. These top 2 are lining up. These top 2 here. These bottom 4 are not as much. So I just need to, at least for now, I'm just going to undo them all. And then all I'm going to do is just run a bigger bit, just a slightly bigger bit through the hole. That'll give me enough relief that I need so the screws will start straight. I'm not going to drill a separate hole. I'm just going to drill a larger hole. So, let me go and grab the drill bit, because I don't think, I know I got a bit in here, but it may be, yeah, it's the same size that I used. Yes, totally 78 brings up a very good point. The screw head will still, there's enough, the amount that I need, the amount of relief I need to get this screw to start straight is very, very, very negligible. In fact, I could probably even use this same bit and just kind of walk it over slightly to give me the relief that I need. So let's just do that. All I'm doing is just walking the bit over. A little wiggle drilling. Okay. Let me go and blow all the dust off of this thing real quick now. Yeah, totally 78. He knows what's up with that wiggle drilling and walking it over. Alright. Okay. Let's stick that back in there. Start with the top screw. Move down here to the bottom. How's that? Is that going in straight? Because it is a plastic housing, you know, I don't want to cross thread them in there. Alright. Alright. I'm just going to go grab a slightly larger bit. Actually, we'll just do it like this. Where is my faceplate? We'll just use the faceplate as a guide. That'll probably be the easiest way to make sure everything's going to line up. Just going to run these all the way down, just so I make sure we're square. And again, I'm just using the original faceplate from the trim wheel. Looking through, yeah, I can kind of see where we kind of went messed up. And that's alright, because now I can just use this as a nice guide. Okay. And I think once I pull this back off, I'm going to run it out to the shop and give it a quick sanding on the back side. Because, you know, drilling through kind of gives me a bit of imperfections, and I want that trim wheel, you know, and I want it to be flush. So let me go real quickly, and I'll be right back. I'm not going to drag the whole camera out there. I'm just going to go lightly sand the back of this and be right back in. Okay, should be golden now. Start with the top screw. Go down here to the bottom. Yeah, that's lining up much better. Do want to thank everyone for coming in again, hanging out for a bit. Okay, got that started. That started. We got 4 more. 1, 2, 3. Where'd that 4th go? Oh, that's right. I dropped it, hit the floor somewhere. Yeah, I'll find it in a minute. Okay. Alright, that fits there. That fits there. That's in there. Alright, that started there. Start it there. Did that screw up. Oh, there it is. Yep, that'll work out just fine. So now that I've got everything started in here, I see that gap in there. I'm going to find my shims that I had cut. While there's still, while that gap's still in there, I'm just gonna shove them down in. There's one more somewhere. Once everything's actually put back together, this hanger is going to be so much cleaner. There it is. Okay. That in there. All I'm doing is just kind of sliding them in there. And as I tighten these screws down, it's just going to kind of draw it up in place. And it'll be fine. Just until they're snug. You don't have to overdo it. It's not a very heavy component. Move this one up just a little bit. There we go. That's tight. That's tight. That's tight. 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 And that's all I'm doing there. I'm shimming it back just slightly so that that motorized gear has some room to work. I still have my indicator coming through and my trim wheel, and I think that looks absolutely good. And then, not now, but what we'll do, because I'll probably might do another coat of paint on this, but one of these will actually end up coming on, being stuck on here. One of these, I'm not sure which indicator particularly I'm going to use, but you get the idea where we're going with that, right? Okay. This thing doesn't want to focus well all the time. No? Yes? No. Didn't work so good either. Alright, bear with me. Where is it? 96. Please. Autofocus doesn't want to work today. There it is. Maybe. Okay, yep. Okay, honestly, in the 172 I fly, the only thing that's really in this part of the pedestal is the trim wheel and what would be left over of an old intercom. But since this is, you know, a multifaceted 172 per se, we do sometimes fly high performance and or complex aircraft in here. We also have a provision for cow flaps. Down here is going to go our rudder trim. And over here I have USB and voltmeter. The cow flaps lever and my rudder trim come from an Etsy company called, it's either Falcon Gear Sim or Gear Falcon Sim. I don't, I know it's one or the other. You know, I just need to find out for sure because decent quality, and I want to make sure that I'm crediting them properly. So it is, let's see, Falcon. Okay, it is Gear Falcon Sim. It's the Etsy store. So it's their board here. And this micro board is what I use to run the cow flap. It runs the rudder trim. It runs cow flaps, rudder trim. It runs our wing flaps. Okay. And it's going to run, at least for now, our temporary ELT until our official one comes in, which is still being developed. It's being developed by DIY Cockpit Panels, also an Etsy store. So once he's got that done, it'll take the place of my single toggle ELT switch, but it will run into this board as well when that time comes. This is just one of their micro boards. It's got 2 or 3 sliders on it and a few button selections. I mean, it's nothing too big. However, it does the job. And so what we can do, for now, I'm just going to unplug the controller from the board. Okay. Cow flaps up, open, cow flaps closed. And then this one will actually get installed from behind as well, just like so. And in the previous version, I was able to screw this in from the back. I think I might still be able to. Yep, looks like it. We can't go too tight, but we can still screw this in from the back here. So if I go too tight, then I'm poking through my my material. And that's not what I want. So we're going to put our gear axis at 90 degrees, and I'm just going to center it into the slot. And then we will screw it in place. Oh, wrong bit. Might help if I had the right bit. Let's see if this one's gonna be long enough. No, won't be long enough. Actually, yeah. We'll try to do it from the back. If that doesn't work, we're gonna come in from the front. Yeah, totally 78. Check out that shop. A lot of neat parts on there, DIY type stuff. That's not what I wanted. Just gonna drill my hole first. And I've decided I'm going to go in from the front to capture this one. Okay, there's one. And there's two. Just like that. And then I'll put a label on here. It won't be a placard. I'll use it, make it with a label maker. And then this will go down to the board. The rudder trim, Gear Falcon Sim as well. It is a pretty neat unit for what it is. The indicator is mechanically linked to the wheel, which kind of makes it nice. There's not an additional servo to move that indicator. But I did have a wire come off of the back, so I need to solder that back on. I want to do that before we get it mounted. Yeah, totally 78. It is really neat. It is kind of one of the things I enjoy about it. You know, because I can, you know, yeah, just, it's mechanically linked. It's just one less electrical part that has to move. So it's really kind of a neat concept there. I have my soldering iron right here. Just gonna plug this in. It was not hard to calibrate at all, totally. Because it's pre-assembled, so the potentiometer is already 0 when the indicator is 0. I mean, I still had to, you know, do the full calibration inside of X-plane, you know, move it all the way left, right, and then center it and whatnot. But initial calibration and setup, it was it was really, really easy because it was pre-assembled. The servo was already centered, and yeah. So yeah, it was real easy to calibrate. You know, just move it all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and then when it asks you, you know, to leave the joystick centered, that's when you just make sure that needle's centered there. Waiting on this soldering iron to heat up. Put a little bit of flux on the tip here. Yeah, for what it is, totally, it's a real nice, you know, indicator and rudder trim wheel. It's not something I use often in the 172, but when we flew the 182 and 210, it is kind of nice to alleviate some of that pressure. I don't necessarily recommend soldering directly on top of yourself, but it's just solder. Get a little more wire here. Wire is a bit small. My wire strippers don't like it. That'll work. Yep, safety jeans is right. If I was doing a whole bunch of soldering right now, I'd be doing it on a table, but I've got one wire. One wire I gotta solder. That looks good. All those other ones seem to be good. Yeah, that's it. Easy enough. Let's unplug that. And for now, we'll hang this right here so it cools off a bit. Okay. This is going to end up going down in here, like so. But it looks like I'm going to have to trim it down, which is fine. I do have enough profile. I've got enough profile on the back to trim some of this off. So let me go and do that out in the shop real quick. It's not going to take me very long. The sanding disc will make short work of this plastic. And I will be right back. Yep, made pretty short work of it. All I did is sanded down the sides, just with a sanding disc, die grinder, whatever you might want to call it. Not so much sandpaper. And then just kind of tapered the corners a little bit. So hopefully, when I put it in here, we'll have enough room to mount our voltmeter and our USB charger. In fact, maybe we should just mount those two things now, and then we'll know how much room we have to work with. So let me go grab the USB thingy and the voltmeter indicator thingy. In the previous version, this, I guess you can call it a 12 volt accessory kit. I bought it on Amazon. It came with a 12 volt lighter receptacle, dual USB 2.1 amp chargers. It came with a voltmeter, just indicates, well, for automotive it would indicate charging, I guess, just indicates voltage. Since my 12 volt comes off of a dedicated power supply and not a generator here per se, I use a power supply, it does give me kind of a monitor of that power supply, even though, you know, we're looking at it inside the airplane. So I think the voltmeter and the USB thing is all I really am concerned about. Honestly, the only time I ever used the lighter receptacle in the previous version was to plug a lighter adapter into it and then a USB cable. So I think for now we'll be fine with just the voltmeter, or the volt indicator, and the USB charger. WestJet, hello, welcome on in. Hope your day's gone well. We got our seat belts installed, and we're just about finished building the pedestal face here. So, and then this is just I drilled these holes with I want to say it's a 1-inch hole saw. And then these go up in here. Picked up a new lens for your camera. Outstanding. What type of lens did you get? Prime lens, telephoto. Sigma, 150 to 600. WestJet, I'll tell you what, buddy, you're gonna absolutely love that lens. Yeah, it's a wonderful lens. I don't know what body you shoot, or if you're DX or FX, but it is an outstanding lens. I had the Tamron 150 to 600, then I went to the Sigma 150 to 600. Worked great. Now I'm using my a Nikon 200 to 500, but it was still a very, very good lens. Here's Games. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. Speaking of the lenses, I gotta get a CPL filter. There's a total solar eclipse coming up in Ohio in April that I want to be prepared for. So I'll have to make a note to do that. Okay. So we got our voltmeter in here, and it literally just goes in, and then there's a locking ring, a little plastic locking ring, just kind of screw down, and that's how that secures in there. Just picked it up, haven't had much time to test it. It's on a Canon DSLR. Very nice. Canon makes an excellent camera. Okay, so we got our cow flaps lever in here. We were able to mount our trim wheel behind our pedestal fascia, which is really nice. I really like the way that it looks. There was trust me, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the original faceplate that came on it. I wanted that look of, okay, it's, you know, behind that, you know, pedestal there, instead of it looking like it's on top, if that makes sense. What else we got here? That's not what I need. And then below our voltmeter, we're gonna put our dual USB charger. It's in there. We're gonna screw this down. And again, it's just a locking ring. Okay, just like so, and then we should hopefully have enough space to fit our rudder trim wheel. Is that dry? Yep, that's soldered good. I'll drop that down in there. Look at that. Fits. Can't really see it, but this does say nose right and nose left. This is the only thing, this is the only trim, I guess this is the only piece coming in from the front as far as trim pieces go, I guess, for lack of a better way to explain what I'm trying to explain. And then what I'm going to do is just use a couple of those, my famous number 8 by 1/2 inch self-tapping pan head screws. These little guys have come in great for things like avionics panels and whatnot, because A, they are self-tapping, which makes it nice. Okay, let's set that there. There's a screwdriver. Try and get it right in the middle so it looks aesthetically pleasing. Alright. Man, that's the hardest piece of MDF. Okay. Of course it's going crooked and so there. And that's the front of our pedestal, essentially. And again, we'll placard this accordingly with you know, one of these trim placards. But I am going to order a new set. So I'm going to wait till the new set comes in to see if anything's changed or anything. Because there are some that I need to replace that I just couldn't salvage from the old panel. But I think that'll look good. So this is set, that's in. The trim wheel is USB, so that's gonna just get plugged in with a cable. These two items go to a board. They just get plugged in with that 3-pin header cable. So now we'll go ahead and take this and we'll go ahead and set it back on here. Okay, I'm gonna have to, because I can't make that angle, I'm gonna have to pull this front part off here first. I could make the angle without the trim wheel in there, but I couldn't make the angle with it in there. Now we're gonna take this, go down, put it up in there. I'm gonna leave this part loose for now and re-secure this front piece. And then we'll put 2 screws in here. No, good call, WestJet. Nice catch. Okay. And then we'll screw this back into the front here with some black panhead screws. Looking good there. Then we've got finally our fuel tank select. That's gonna drop down in right here. Okay, I'm gonna set this down on the floor so I can screw this fuel select panel in place with those same number 8 by 1/2 inch panhead screws. So one thing about MDF is once you start screwing into it, it draws up a whole bunch of dust. So I start my screws in, get them almost tight, then I'll blow the dust off. And there's our fuel select. And again, since I had to trim it when we lost some of our wording, that's okay because we don't have a 26.5 gallon tank. Again, we have our placard set, and I'm actually going to use this one, which is the 19 gallon ones. And again, it's being placarded as the 172 Foxtrot simply because that's what I fly in real life. That's going to keep all of those numbers ingrained in my head so that I don't have to make any sort of major transition between this and the actual plane. The placard set is not a limitation. Don't think that means just because we're placarded as a type Foxtrot that we can't load in a Cessna 210 or whatever the case may be. The placards in the FAA's eyes is not a deal breaker as far as what types of airplane profiles we can load into an approved flight training device. Okay, so that's essentially our pedestal. I think I want to kind of take it over there, and we'll just kind of see what it looks like. Try and bring this camera up here. And we'll see if my camera stays working after I just moved it. Yep, it's working. Okay. This is going to come down in here. Just like so. I think that's going to work out great. I really do. I'm really excited. Yep, that feels pretty natural. Okay. Alright, for the time being, the pedestal is just going to stay there. It is 9:45 here in Ohio. We got the pedestal built and assembled. I may take it back. I may take the components back out and give it another coat of paint, but I don't know. And what I may end up doing is taking some. I don't have any here to show you, but possibly some duct tape, black in color, 1 inch wide, and I may just take those and put it around the joints, just so you can't really see where the joints come together. So I may do that at some point in time in the future. Lastly, let's talk about the intercom. The intercom I use FSX Dual, comes out of New Zealand. It is a USB. So it's technically it's a USB audio card. I mean, technically it's an audio card, but it does have, but it's also an intercom. I mean, it's a really cool device. The newer ones are even cooler because you can link them together and you can have multi-intercom, and you can have 4 GA headsets talking to each other. But this is one of the original versions of the intercom. So it's just got the dual, but it does have independent volume. The squelch knobs, just more for aesthetics than anything else. But but it is a very neat unit. Previously, I had this mounted in the pedestal. I don't have any room for that anymore, and it's wider than our 6-inch width profile, so I knew that I couldn't narrow this. So we're taking this out of the pedestal completely, and I think what I want to do to still utilize is this, but still keep things as realistic as possible. You know, I get in my plane and my intercom adapter is just right. You know, I'll just show you real quick. Okay. Normally, I would plug my intercom in right under here for the pilot, and then over there under the glove box for the co-pilot. What my plan is, or what I think I'm going to do. Totally 78. Have a good evening. You know, you're not missing too much more. So you take care. Thanks for coming in, my friend, and we'll see you next time. Possibly Friday would be the next one. Possibly Friday, but have a great night. This is a GA extender cable. These are 5 feet in length. So I think what I'm going to do is, you know, that intercom will be, you know, it'll be over there with the PCs or on the shelf somewhere out of the plane, or even behind the panel should we need access to that volume. Or maybe, I don't know, I might even mount it underneath the shelf, the yoke shelf somewhere. But get another one of these extension cables, okay? Then I've got a male, you know, female here, and then somehow maybe fabricate these up under the dash there, which would, you know, put these in each corner of the panel. I'm not sure how I'm gonna secure them or fasten them yet. Inside the box, that is the plan. It will be, and I don't think, it is my goal. It's going to happen. Yeah, it is going to happen. But let me squash the rumors right now about FAA approved training devices. Okay. Just because it is approved by the FAA as a training device doesn't necessarily mean that anytime... let me back up. When it becomes approved as an FAA training device, that doesn't mean that anytime I use it, I can automatically log those hours. No. That's not how that works. You need a double I. You need an instrument instructor. And you can really... I think it's only 2.5 hours that you can used for that currency. You cannot log every flight as instrument time. It doesn't work like that. So my goal, you know, not just for my own satisfaction of being able to say that I hand built an FAA approved flight training device, you know, the goal is to be able to offer this to some of the local pilots around to use it to train, because there's very few and far between around my parts that have an approved training device. So if I can get, you know, if I can rent it out for $40-50 an hour, yeah, that'd be great. That would be, you know, that would be nice. So, yeah, yeah. Like I said, I can't teach anybody to fly. Like I said, I could teach someone to fly, but I can't teach anyone to fly. So I think I think that's how I'm gonna do the intercom. I just don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna mount this yet, and I don't know how I'm going to secure these cables. I may try to drill a hole into a block of wood and shove them through, and maybe use some hose clamps or something to keep them from moving in and out. You know, some hose clamps, worm gear clamps. You know, the metal things, you can tighten them up. So that's a possibility I could do. There are a couple different options. I haven't done a whole lot of thinking about that part just yet. But this will probably be the next component that we set up and install, because honestly we're getting down to the final stuff. The seats are in. I want to order some new cables for the displays. But yeah, we're getting down there. I think that's all that I have for this evening. Let's see. Until the next part, which will be part 8. I hope you all take care and stay safe. Take care of each other. I think that's very important. And yeah. So I do want to say thanks again, everyone, for coming in and hanging out for a bit this evening. I hope that we can get back to doing some actual flying soon. Remember, got an important deadline that we have to be done by March 3rd. So that's got to be done by then. Got plans. So, yeah. Let's go see who we can go and spend the next bit of the evening with. Let's see who's doing what. I do need to give a quick thank you to Pseudo Pilot, who came in with a new follow to the channel while we were offline earlier today. So Pseudo Pilot, thank you for that follow. I hope to get a chance to talk to you in the future and do some flying with you. So, that being said, let's go say hi to let's go say hi to my buddy Tabletop Android, who's flying with the Pilot Club in Microsoft Flight Simulator this evening. So, until next time, again, stay safe, everyone. My name is Michael, and it's been a pleasure. Take care.